and welcome to the Sequire Spotlight. I'm Carmel Fisher, VP of Platform Services here at Sequire Shreks, and the host of this show that brings you all the up-to-date market news, as well as highlighting some of our amazing companies that we have on our books. With us is Vetanova, and the CEO, John McKowen, joins us to give us some exciting updates. John, welcome.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, Camilla.
Great meeting you. We do have two more attendees from Vetanova, so we'll get into chatting with Ryan Kinnison as well as Richard Kwessell really soon. But for now, John, please give us an overview of what Vetanova does, and it's the OTC ticker VTNA.
Yes, so as you said, I'm the CEO of Vetanova, and it's a company that we created specifically to marry up solar power technology with vertical greenhouse growing so that we could produce local fruits and vegetables for distribution to the local community along the Front Range of Colorado.
Wonderful, wonderful. On August 22nd of 2022, I see that you entered into an agreement to purchase 300 million, is that correct? Common membership interests. Can you just elaborate on that with the interests of Vetanova Solar Partners, I see? Can you give us some more information and clarity on what that's about?
So you're asking me, Carmelo, about the structure of the deal and what that's going to look like, is that right?
That's correct. I think that as much as information we can get, just so everyone knows what it's about, what the structure looks like, and what's the end result we're hoping for.
So the structure of the deal, and I've done this type of taking a concept, investing initial capital, which we've done, and then taking that company public. And so we're in the phase of doing a $10 million raise, and the $10 million raise is an equity unit deal. And inside that equity, inside that unit is 1 share of common, 2 warrants. In the industry, we would say that it's 100% warrant coverage because the price of the unit and the first warrant is at the same price. And then there's an uplift to another warrant. And then in this particular instance, there's a common membership interest in Vetanova Solar Power. And that's very important because investors will get an ownership interest in that entity. It's a pass-through entity. And with the recent passage of the Inflation Reduction Act, they've increased the solar tax credits to 60% of the qualified solar expenditures, and that gets passed through to the investors. And so you can have as much as a one-on-one benefit, tax benefit to the investor, so that $1 invested could potentially result in $1 of investment tax credits. And so for people who want to offset their taxes moving forward, this is a great investment for that.
Excellent. I see that Vetanova has grown 32% over the past year, ending 9/1 of 2022. Do you care to shed some light on what you believe, caused that great increase in growth over the past year?
Well, I think that and it goes to the heart of what we're doing operationally. I think that for one, we should say that we're an inflation-aligned, counter-cyclical company. And what that means is that 90% of the greenhouses right now are operated off of natural gas. And natural gas has gone from $2 per thousand to $9 per thousand today. And so that cost of goods sold input, that part of your cost of goods sold has increased more than 4-fold going forward. But if you have a solar field that's providing you with 90% of your power, which we will do, then that gets to go right to your bottom line. And so we're inflation aligned in that we don't experience the extreme difficulty created by the inflation of natural gas prices and other hydrocarbons. We simply capitalize the solar field, and that savings goes directly to our bottom line.
Sounds great. Tell us more about any challenges that you face. It's great hearing that you're aligned with the inflation and you won't feel as much an impact from there, but what are the challenges that keeps you awake at night or, kind of stops you from getting to your end result faster than you like?
Well, one of the challenges for this industry has always been gaining shelf space. How do you, even if you grow something, how does it end up on the grocer's shelves inside the produce department? Well, we don't have to worry about that because as part of the structure of this deal, when we started out, we created or entered into an agreement with a company called Mastronardi. Mastronardi is the largest premium produce provider wholesaler in North America. And so if we grow produce and it's US grade 1, then it's automatically sold. We don't have to worry about the takeoff or the shelf space because we'll deliver 100% of our product to Mastronardi. And I would bet that if you went to the grocery store in LA where you are, you would see that the tomatoes are Sunset Grown, which is their brand name.
Yes, I probably would. And I'll actually look out for it on my next visit. Before we jump into a bit more details with, Richard Kwessell as the Director of Operations to hear more about his involvement with the company, I want to hear more about you, John. Why this industry? Why do you find yourself here? And I know you're not new to public markets, so please give us a recap of where you've been and why you find yourself in this space.
Well, I've done 2 deals exactly like this. I've got 25 years experience in this type of business, in the capital markets business. And in 1996, I did an internet deal back when there were no iPhones, back when there was no Google, no Amazon. And we took that public and it was a unit deal, 1 share and then 2 warrants. From 96 to 98, it ended up being what we would call a 15 pop. That means the investors got 15 times on their money. And because of the way that I follow the market, we got out long before not long before, probably about 6 months before the .com market bust.
Excellent. But why this green space? Have you been in any other industries, and what excites you about where you are now?
Well, there's 2 things. One, I think we're going to move into a very rough time period for energy costs, and we're starting to see that. We've seen it in the last year, and I don't think it's going to improve much going forward. And so we wanted to do solar. We wanted to get off the fossil fuel grid. But the other big issue is, according to the UN, there's going to be about 1.2 billion people in the world that are going to suffer from famine going forward. And so the pressure on providing food is going to be felt almost everywhere because where we're importing products, and we import a lot of products from Mexico and other places, and they're going to be very protective of what they're producing. They're going to want to feed their own families, their own population first. And so you need to have food locally grown. And so I saw that combination of things, the solar power, getting off the fossil fuel grid, and food safety and delivering it locally as 2 key issues that needed to be solved going forward. And this is the perfect solution for those problems.
Sounds intriguing, to say the least, and definitely, makes a lot of sense. Just everything you've said. We are moving to more challenging times, I believe, holistically, but not to focus on that. Thank you so much. It's a great segue into introducing Richard Kwessell, consultant, but also Director of Operations for Vetanova. Richard, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Of course. Richard, please, as the Director of Operations, what have you identified as the strengths of Vetanova, and what do you foresee your next strategies being around the operation?
Well, I definitely think some of the largest strengths that we have is the horsepower of the solar field that we plan to harvest. Being a longtime greenhouse operator in the licensed cannabis space, one of the largest line items that we have for expenses is our power and to heat our greenhouse. So getting around that is just going to be exponentially huge. And, we're really excited to start this project. Closing the deal with Mastronardi was certainly another huge hurdle. John and I had been talking about this project for some time, and just kind of the need for this within our region along the Front Range. And when we had, always the biggest hurdle for us was, how are we going to basically, in essence, create an entire sales team that's going to be bringing this food to market before spoilage. And so, that was a huge hurdle. And we started thinking about that real strongly and kind of, beginning to recruit those people into place. And shortly thereafter, I think what we, it wasn't maybe more than about 6 weeks after that, the Mastronardi folks had reached out to us and had kind of heard the drumbeats about what we were doing. And it was a very pleasant process negotiating the deal with them, and they've been extraordinarily helpful. They've opened up their entire book of knowledge to us as far as what's working well and what's not working well for their network of growers around the country. And it's just been a great relationship. And so we're really excited to start this and get these tomatoes grown as fast as possible.
Great stuff. Can you talk to us more about locations, where you're currently at? Are there any plans for new locations? Anything you can shed some light on?
Yeah, currently we're located in just an incredible sun belt within the United States. Colorado sees over 300 days of gorgeous, bright sunshine, cloud free. And so we feel that strategically that is going to help just tremendously with costs and with also, harvesting the sunshine. But in addition to that too, we're also located within a 4-hour drive to, a population density, I think, of just under 6 million, if I'm not mistaken. And so we see that this is a great launch pad for our project. The location itself, resting on 152 acres, is just primed and ready for expansion. And I think that after we prove concept with the first 2 acres, bring that to 25 acres, after that, we'll begin to look into other regions to replicate this deal in other places around the country where the sunshine index makes sense, as well as the population densities.
Can you talk a little bit about where you see, I think you've touched on it just very slightly, but where you see Vetanova in the next 3 years?
Well, goodness, in 3 years, I could see us pumping a nonstop river of tomato products through the Mastronardi group. They've being the largest farm and greenhouse to supermarket distributor in North America. They have ensured us, and we've seen through all of their other growers within their network, that they cannot grow it fast enough. As long as it hits quality, it's to shelf and it sells. And John echoed this with the amount of hunger and famine that we're also seeing, and the tough times coming. We need to be able to produce food cheaper. So in 3 years, I see us rolling that 25-acre greenhouse like a Swiss clock, and I see us moving into our next projects in other states.
Thank you, Richard. That was great hearing from you. Richard Kwessell, Director of Operations. And now I'm going to chat with Ryan Kinnison. Welcome, Ryan. He is consultant and head grower. How are you?
Great. Thanks for the time today.
Of course. Give us a recap, or an overview at least, of what your involvement is with Vetanova.
So coming from the agricultural side of the operation, it's going to be on the execution and the production of the actual tomato crop for the Mastronardi group. We've spoken about the solar and the benefits that it's going to have for this facility, but in addition to that is the droughts in California and the continued water management with food production in particular is going to continue to put stress on the agricultural community. Myself have been a farm boy all my life, and this project and stuff is just going to allow us to expand into an agricultural business to hit that target market here in the Front Range.
So as head grower out on the fields, besides the water shortages and the natural challenges that we face, especially you as a farmer, what else could you say is the most challenging part of your job, and also what excites you the most about going out there on those fields and making sure we get the best crops out of Vetanova?
Confined space agriculture has been a huge direction and a passion in my personal career. Outdoor production has a lot of risk associated with it. We have weather, we have animals, and food safety concerns. And when we take that production to a climate controlled environment, we're going to be able to eliminate some of those hot nights and cool days. You might thought I said that backwards, but that's very critical in order to get the fruit to the way we need it for market. Good agricultural practices, good management practices, the use of beneficial insects will all play key roles in keeping this operation very efficient on many different fronts.
Wonderful, thank you. John, back to you. For investors, will you give us 3 important key takeaways that they can take from this conversation and remember as they're paying attention to your stock out there?
So I think number one is the valuation. $20 million was originally spent on this particular property when it was first built out in 2016. We've marked that down to $5 million as a starting valuation as we bring this back into production. So they're not buying an exit strategy some VC fund or something like that. They're participating with us as the startup. And this offering, the equity that we're providing in this deal will end up being 70% of the total company as we build it out. So they're getting a great valuation. That's number one. Number two is you've got experienced management in this deal, both Rich and Ryan, and all we really need to do is grow grade 1, US grade 1 produce, and it is sold. And so we don't have to worry about doing something in the overall business cycle, or a large part of that is taken away. So we've got this relationship with Master Nardi. And number 3 is the investment tax credits associated with this deal. That's a hybrid that you don't really see. I've never seen it out there, but we're able, because we put this structure together, to pass through those investment tax credits to our investors. And so solar investment tax credits are exactly what they say. You get to offset the bottom line in taxes that you owe with the investment tax credits. So to recap, 1, the valuation, 2, the management experience, and 3, the investment tax credits associated with the deal.
Sounds like a good deal to me. Please remind us where we can find more information on the stock, the company, maybe direct us to a website.
The website that they would go to is actually our landing page for the offering, because this is being offered online as a Reg A Plus offering. And so the URL for that landing page is VetanovaRegA.com. So it's VetanovaRega.com.
That's it. You heard it straight from John Cowan, CEO of Vetanova, and the OTC ticker is VTNA. I'm Carmel Fisher, and you're watching the Sequire Spotlight.